I've had a best friend for 6 years. We met at school and quickly became friends. We had nothing much to share. The girl followed me around, shared almost all my interests, studied well, like me, and I even led her into the field in which I work, taught her all the basics. I even put her on her heels. It was nice, like having a little sister. At that point, she and I were already in a long-term serious relationship. And then 2 more characters in this story would come along. And the 5th character came into my life a year later. I invited my friend to a concert and she came with her brother. At the concert, we had a nice conversation and that was it. And then my friend told me that he had fallen in love with me with no memory. I cried half the night in the kitchen why I was with someone else. I must say that I was not deprived of the attention of young people, so I did not take it seriously, especially since my girlfriend's brother did not remind me of himself, and my own relationship suited me. But it didn't suit me for long. My boyfriend, very much loved me, was jealous, but as a future husband I was not satisfied at all. He did not get a job for 6 months, demanded a constant report, where I was and with whom, could not even screw a pen on the balcony. And when the period of love was over, there was only a jealous madman who cannot organize his life. There were conversations, many serious ones, but month after month there was no change. And one day, I got up the courage to cut the knot out of pity for him and fear of loneliness and asked him to leave. I felt disgusted. I felt like I had cut off the hand that had always been with me and that you don't think about the existence of. And now it was gone and very painful. I was literally shaking for a few days. I tried not to be alone with my thoughts. I was either studying or at the gym, or of course with my girlfriend. Her boyfriend was in the army at the time, so it was just the 3 of us, me, her, and her brother, hanging out. After getting to know each other better, I realized at some point that I also had feelings for him. My friend didn't seem to mind. She had been actively promoting him to me for the 2nd year, but for some reason I still felt guilty before her and came running to get her blessing. If she had told me that she was uncomfortable, the development of our relationship would not have happened. We hadn't spoken to my ex-boyfriend in a long time. At first there were some more phone calls with requests and tears, but then they ended too. And I didn't hear from him for 6 months. Then he wrote something like, "I found a new love. I look at many things differently. Let's stay friends." I was happy for him, as I still felt guilty for leaving him. And we had been together for 5 years. We had almost gone through all the difficulties of growing up together. It's hard to throw away 5 years of life and emotional weight, so I was very happy that things were getting better. And then strange things started to happen. We seemed to communicate and even saw each other a couple of times, but it was in the style of exchanging news about mutual acquaintances. The first time we met at a friend's birthday party, he paid a lot of attention to me, and at the end of the evening, when he had drunk a lot, he chatted with me, pinning me against the wall and hovering over me, which made me feel uncomfortable. At the climax of the evening, he said that for the last 6 months while we were together, he had been dating some 30-year-old woman with 2 kids who had also had an abortion from him. Honestly, after that party, I wanted to go and lie in the bathroom for 3 or 4 hours to clean myself up. But I'm a person whose motto in life is time heals, so after a couple of days I forgot about that foolishness. A couple of months later, he broke up with that girl, found out she was a web model, and I started feeling sorry for him again. So we went to the fireworks for the city day. I was with my lover and met some guys there that I hadn't seen in a long time, so I hardly spoke to my ex. But he decided to take my boyfriend aside and tell him how many people I had sex with in my life, and this figure I somehow gave him from the ceiling during another fit of jealousy. I do not know how he remembered. In short, it backfired on me. Fortunately, my boyfriend is a normal, adequate person, and this had no effect on our relationship. Although at the time I decided that this friendship had to stop, clearly the man was trying too hard to ruin my life. But my boyfriend said that he was just lonely and unhappy. There was no need to leave him. And although I decided to communicate with him less, I did not cut all the ends. All this time, my friend has been actively bad-mouthing him and resenting why I was hanging out with him at all. I didn't even see him at general parties. Sometimes I listened to his "Why All the Women Leave Me" on social networking sites. Out of decency, called him to the wedding, but he did not go, I think for the best. It was almost a year after the wedding, and he asked to come to my birthday party. His mother had died a couple of months before, so as usual, I felt sorry for him and invited him over. He was disgusting. He made scathing jokes about me, sitting at the table with my friends, devouring the food I had prepared, and getting drunk on alcohol at my expense. My husband and his friend even got tense and wanted to take him out. but I told them that it was just a peculiar kind of humor. Don't mind him. Closer to evening, another part of the company came up, those who were on their way from work, and everyone decided to go to a club. There, by the way, my ex-husband hovered over me again and was bawling at me, asking me to forgive him for his stupid behavior and how happy he was for me that I had found my love. I had already decided at that point that this was the last time I would see him, and that I didn't want to see him in my life anymore. That best friend was also at the club. She was depressed. She was about to break up with her boyfriend of 7 years, for the same reason, by the way, that I had once broken up with my ex. So, I knew exactly how she felt and how hard it was to break up, but I couldn't imagine how the sobs on my shoulder would end. I took a cab, picked up one of my girlfriends who had a long drive to my place, and the guys stayed at the club. A couple of days later, she showed up on our doorstep with her stuff. Since I'm married to her brother and it's my best friend, I told her a long time ago that if anything, stay with us. So we took her in, her husband slept on the floor for a week, and then I bought her a cot. She stayed with us for about a month while she was looking for an apartment. The whole time her ex was texting her, and she went with him a couple of times to some bar with the excuse that no one else could but him. This stressed me out, so I asked him right away what was going on. He said with genuine surprise that how could you even think that about me? We can't stand each other, and in general it is my friend's girlfriend. In general, convinced me that there was nothing between them. The friend herself said that all there could be between them. She went to see her ex-boyfriend several times, by the way, trying to patch things up, so there was hope that things would still work out. One day, she and my husband got into a huge fight. It started off with some bullshit, but since my husband has a temper, he can break up in minutes. Anyway, after the scandal, she sat and cried on the floor, and I was mad at my husband, telling him that this is not the way to deal with relatives, and wiped her tears. I think that was the best moment to tell me the truth, but it didn't happen. In the morning, they reconciled, and soon she moved out. The other night, I get a text message, and there's a picture of them sitting in their arms. I asked her why she was doing that. She said, just hanging out, although it was pretty obvious by then. The next day, she decided to tell me that she had been sleeping with him for a long time. Then she told me the details of the whole process. She asked me not to tell my brother, or he might take it badly. I was in such mixed emotions that I didn't even know how I felt about the whole situation. But I started to feel it in a cab on the way home. And that evening, her touching ex-boyfriend arrived, brought her the rest of her things. They talked about something, and when I left, they sat on the couch, cuddling. The sight of it made me cringe. How much hypocrisy can people be? How is it that the people you care about the most hurt the most? How does this man, after 5 years, manage to sneak into my life and suck up to me? 1 minute you want to stop all communication with him, and next thing you know, he's already sleeping with your best friend. Why did she spend so much time lying and hiding it, and why hide it at all? I'm living in some kind of farce, and the funny thing is, she doesn't even think it could upset me. She was only worried about her brother finding out. I am so disgusted with these people. I really wish this situation wouldn't make me feel this way. I want to let her go, but I can't choose my emotions. I can't trust her anymore. It's awful to lose a friend because of some fool, but I just can't relate to her anymore right now. It feels like he didn't rise to her level, she did. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. Also put a bell so you don't miss new videos. See you soon.